Hi guys and welcome back. It's Jason and today we're going to talk about composition. And basically with composition, the way I look at it is if you don't compose a picture right, then basically it just turns into a snapshot. And what's something that could have been a beautiful photo, it just kind of turns out as just any other picture. So if you think about your picture, you compose your picture properly or with some thought, then you will achieve a better picture and you'll be much happier with it. So today we're going to look at 9 tips that I can give you, and there's many more, but I'm going to break down a few that I like to keep in my head. There's all kinds of different rules and stuff that I may go into in other videos, but today I'm just going to break down these 9 simple tips, and hopefully they help you create better photos when you're out there looking to make something with your camera. The first one I'm going to mention is shoot both horizontal and vertical. What this does is it gives your brain a chance to see what's in the picture. It also gives you the option of narrowing in on a subject. It helps you if you go vertical. Sometimes the horizontal picture will be what you need, but sometimes changing to a vertical composition, it can create depth in the picture. It can highlight something in the foreground. It gives you a real sense of depth. Say for example, if you're taking a picture of something in a narrow space, you don't necessarily need all the stuff that's out here on either side. You may just want to focus on that, and it pulls you into the picture. So when you're looking at a scene or you're taking a photograph even of a person, change that perspective from horizontal to vertical. And I'm not saying change it once you're back on the computer. I'm saying change it right there while you're taking a picture. Take a picture horizontally, take a picture vertically. Then you have both options to look at later when you're back on the computer, and you can decide and move things around and see which one you like best. The second one I want to talk about, and you've probably heard this term before, is leading lines. Use leading lines. Basically what leading lines are things in your photograph that guide you to your point of focus. So say for example, you're taking a picture of a car and you've got the lines on the road, or you're taking a picture of a person and you've got, say, a railing that is guiding your eye to that person, or anything like that. Things that exist naturally in the picture that guide you to your point of focus. The thing that you want a person's eye drawn to, that's the thing that you want your leading line pointing to directly to. Now, these exist in your picture, and that you may have to step from side to side. You may have to move forward just to get the leading line where you want it in the picture, directed at your point of focus. But definitely think of leading lines when you're taking your photograph. The third thing I want to talk about is, it goes along with number 2 with leading lines, but this is using curves and angles. So you've seen a lot of vertical shots where you've got a winding road going through a hillside, or across a desert, or you've got angles coming in from the side that are pointing to your point of focus in the picture. Those things pull the viewer's eye to that subject that you want to have highlighted in your photo. It may be a mountain with a windy river that goes up to that mountain, but that is another form of a leading line. You've got an angle. It may be coming in from the corner of your picture. It could be a pathway that's leading to a tree. It could be a walkway that's leading to the person that's standing in the proper position in your photo. It's just whatever draws your eye to your subject in your photograph that you want to highlight. So use both angles and curves that can highlight that subject for you. The next one I want to talk about is fill the frame. So basically you've got your subject in your frame. Now, you've taken a landscape picture of this subject that you're, say it's a tree, for example. You've got this really beautiful tree. It's a fall scene. You've got this nice tree in a field that you're looking at. and you filled the frame with this tree just offset from the center. It looks beautiful, the light's great, but then there's this random bush over here in the tree on the side of the picture that just kind of is drawing your eye away from your subject. Well, maybe you want to, it goes back to rule one again, maybe you turn vertically and you fill the frame with that tree, or you take a step forward and you get that random thing that's in the picture that's drawing your eye away from your subject. You move it more in, you fill the frame a bit more with the subject that you want to highlight, and then you will fill the frame more with the good parts of your subject. The fifth one that we can talk about is be aware of your background. So what I mean by that is, say for example, you're taking a picture of a person and there's trees and things behind them. Make sure that there's nothing like a tree branch sticking out of the back of their head or up the top of their head or things like that. There can be very distracting elements from behind the person that you may not be aware of when you're first taking the picture, but you get them back on the computer and you have to spend a lot of time trying to remove those elements in the back of the picture. It may be a color that's distracting. It may be another person that happens to be walking by. It could be a tree. It could be, I've seen people with signposts sticking out of the top of their head. Those are very distracting elements that you have to spend time taking out of your picture. Otherwise, there's going to be something wrong. You may not see it right away, but there's going to be something wrong in your view. It's going to bother your viewer's eye when you're looking at it. So be aware of things that are going on in the background of the photo behind the thing that you're actually taking a picture of. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is, I like to think of it as offsetting the subject. Now, there's a bunch of different rules when it comes to photography, and they're rules. There's the rule of thirds, there's the Fibonacci sequence, there's dynamic symmetry, and I may make more videos about those down the road. But right now, we're just going to keep it simple, keep these tips easy, and sometimes it's good to put your subject right in the center of a picture. Depending on what you're looking at, it can create depth, it can create length and height. If you're looking at a massive building with this fantastic staircase, sometimes those things have to go right in the center because it creates more emphasis on that subject. But in a lot of times what you're going to want to do is, if you're filling your frame, you're going to want to offset your picture because there's a grid line. It's called the rule of thirds, and you want to line up your subject with one of those crosshatches. Now, some photographers will say the rule of thirds is meant to be broken, but in some cases, you just want to actually use that, and it works, it's appropriate. And when you're starting with photography, you should follow that and get used to it so that you learn when you should break that rule. So offset your subject to the side a little bit. That tree right in the center of a field may look better if you push it over to the side. That boat out on the lake, it may look better if it's just off to the side a little bit versus within the center. That negative space creates more oomph for that picture, and it makes the picture look better. Number 7 is kind of a different one, and it's a little hard to explain, but basically it's give your subject room to move. Now, I know we're talking about still photos and we're talking about a two-dimensional image, but sometimes if you've got movement in the picture, say if you've got a fisherman standing in a boat and he's throwing out a net, well, if you just show the fisherman and it's really cropped in and closed, you don't get that sense of movement of the net being thrown out or pulled back in. If you come back a little bit from the subject and you give that movement a chance to be expressed in your photo, it creates more depth in your photo, and it gives you, that sense of maybe he's pulling in that fishing net. Say you've got a plane flying through the sky. Well, give some negative space, some empty space for that plane to go to. That gives your sense of movement. If you just crop into that plane is sitting still. But if it's got somewhere to go or somewhere from where it's coming from, then it gives that sense of movement across your picture, and it gives your picture much more dynamics to it. So it allows your brain to process that something is moving in that image, and it makes for a much better image. Number 8 is watch your colors. So what I mean by that is if you have really harsh, sharp colors that are contrasting with the colors of your subject, you may have to move around. You may have to experiment a little bit more, move in, move out. Like I said, fill the frame. You just want to watch your colors, that you don't have something that's distracting or detracting from the photo that you're trying to take. Number 9 is break the rules. You heard me talk earlier about the rule of thirds, the Fibonacci sequence, dynamic symmetry. All of these things are great rules. They work, and there's a reason they are there. I will make videos about those at a later date, so if you like this video, hit the like button down below. It does help, and hit the subscribe button while you're there so you can hang out with me again. I thank you for being here, and I hope you got something out of this, and I will see you again next time.